What is going on, everybody? So today we're doing a video on add-ons for healing. Now specifically this is going to be for PvP, and other classes might use other add-ons or whatever, but this is for Holy Paladin. We're in patch 7.3 at this point. And, I try to keep it as simple as possible and not have too many add-ons, but I'll kind of go through the list as far as what I use and kind of sort of what they do as well, how they help, I should say. So I'm just going to put the list up real quick first, just so you can see. These are all the add-ons that I use for healing PvP. I have other add-ons installed, but they serve different purposes other than healing PvP specifically. So these right there are your add-ons. The most important two add-ons are Grid and Click. Grid is, let me move the list here. I'm just going to slide it over there. Alright, so Grid is right here. Okay, this shows the health of all your party members basically. And normally you would have to actually, right click somebody and then cast a heal. You can do mouse over macros and stuff like that to where you don't have to do that, but then you got to type them all out. It save them. It takes forever. That's where Click comes in handy. Click will basically do all that for you, and you won't have to write out any of those mouse over macros or anything like that, and then it just works well with Grid. It also works if you have your UI up over here. I typically don't, just because Grid already takes up enough of my screen that I don't want them both up. There we go. And cast another one. Cast another one. I mean, I don't need to actually target myself or anything. I don't need to target any of my party members, which is really, really nice. And even that millisecond of just selecting and then casting is big in PvP. The less time it takes you to do that, the faster you can get the heal off, the better. So Grid and Click. Now I want to show you. I'm going to slide this over again a little bit here. I still want it on the screen, but I'm just going to tone it down a little bit. There we go. Because I want to actually pull up Click and show you how this works. Grid you can set up different ways. You can make this different sizes. I try to keep mine relatively small, especially when you're doing like a 15-man BG or something like that. You don't want it to take up your entire screen, because you also have the list of their names over here, which comes from Mr. Target. Mr. Target's the one that I use for Battleground targeting. It basically lists out their entire team. But as far as Click goes, to set it up, it's actually super easy. You just open your spellbook and your abilities. Right here you're going to see, actually hold on, I think that's blocking that. I'm going to take this list down for a second here. Okay, there we go. Spellbook and abilities. And all the way at the bottom, I mean, you have your normal stuff here, but all the way at the bottom it says Click Binding Configuration. And then all you have to do is mouse over whatever ability you want. Just put your mouse over it and then hit whatever key or whatever mouse key or whatever it is that you want to use to cast that. Now the one downfall to this is it doesn't work, at least as far as I know, for macros. It's literally just abilities. So if you have a lot of macros, you still need to kind of do the mouse over stuff for those. So as you can see, I have all this set up. You got your different buttons, all your different mouse buttons, blah blah blah. Pretty easy stuff, honestly. Takes maybe 2-3 minutes to set all that up, and then from there you're pretty much good to go. You can do all your casting, all that stuff, Easy peasy. Alright. Now back to the other add-ons. So that's Grid and Click. Now if you want more details on that, or if you're having trouble setting that up or whatever, just put it in the comments down below. I'll see what I can do. Mr. Target, like we said, it's kind of over here where Gladius is. It's just a list of all the enemies in the battleground with you, and you can click on them to target them and so forth. Probably more handy for DPS, but I do use it from time to time as a healer. Sometimes you gotta, if you know there's a healer nearby and you can't really spot him, you can target him with that, so you can run in there and hodge him or whatever it is you want to do. So it is handy for healing in some cases too. Omnibar. This is Omnibar right here. Omnibar basically, the main thing that I use it for is like pummel and kick cooldowns. So if I'm fake casting, let's say I am fake casting somebody, and they use their pummel, their kick, wind shear, whatever, a little icon will pop up here that'll start the 15-second cooldown on that, or 12-second, or whatever it is for whatever ability is in question that was used to try to pummel you. Also, let's say I am casting and they do get a pummel off on me. Well, obviously I got my silences I gotta eat, but then it'll still show me the cooldown that's remaining on there, so I'll know I can basically free cast at that point without having to worry about it being interrupted. They're gonna have to do something else. They're gonna have to stun me. They're gonna have to blind me. They're gonna have to do something other than pummeling me or kicking me or whatever. So that's what I mostly use Omnibar for, is that. This is Gladius right here. Most people are familiar with Gladius. It's pretty much for just running arenas. And it's going to have the enemy team on there, so you can target them from here. But then you can see other stuff like racials, or sorry, not racials, trinkets. If their trinket was used, you can see that. Other stuff like that. So it just gives you more information about the enemy team, basically, and kind of like where their health's at versus your team and so forth. Also, I believe it shows your CCs as well. Like if you CC'd one, it'll show that here, I want to say, on the left side, so you'll know when it's about to wear off to cast another one, to, you know, do whatever at that point. Gladiator LOS. Gladiator LOS is, I don't really like it in Battlegrounds just because there's so much noise from it. Basically, it calls out when enemies do certain abilities, you know, when they pop cooldowns, when they're casting a big heal, anything like that. It'll let you know what's being cast, or what cooldown was used, or whatever in that case. And in Battlegrounds, it's just constantly going off. I mean, it's just constantly saying it. So it's better, at least in my opinion, for arenas. That way, you know, if somebody does use a cooldown or something like that, then you'll know you need to get away, or you need to CC them, or whatever at the time. So that's what that one does. Cool Line, I put down here on its own because it's kind of, I would say, optional. It's not really, it's kind of clunky, to be honest. It just kind of takes up a big chunk of my screen, right? Actually, this is being blocked. Let me move that again. It's kind of taking up a big portion of my screen right here, as you can see. But what it does is it just puts a cooldown. It puts the picture of my ability and then how long the cooldown is, and it kind of moves slowly to the left when the cooldown is up. So let's say I cast something like my horse here, puts the cooldown up there, and then it'll let me know when it gets closer. Or if I use this, there it goes, and then you can see it counting down. It's one of those things where you don't really need it. I don't know. I have it. It's okay to use sometimes. Really, you can just look down a little bit more and see your abilities down here anyway, for the most part. So it's not super handy. That's why I put it under optional. It's just one that sometimes I like to mess around with. But that's it. If you think I'm missing out on something, if you think there's an add-on that maybe I should be using as a Holy Paladin that would, you know, enhance my play or whatever, then let me know. I did have somebody ask for like what build I'm using. As far as talents and so forth, they swap back and forth quite a bit. I mean, what I have here is, I don't even remember what I was running last, but that's not typically what I would pick. Normally I would be Sanctified Wrath, probably Holy Avenger. Everything else over here would probably be the same. Arenas, I'd typically go Repentance. I do have a video on it. I'll put the link in the comments, or not comments, in the description below, and I'll have a link to my old video. Now I want to say that was patch 7.2, something like that, so maybe I will have to make a new one for 7.3. Honestly, not that much has changed other than, you know, gearing. You can see I'm Avenging Crusader, which yeah, typically I'm not. I'm actually Blessed Hand, so I must have been doing something weird the other night. But yeah, that's about it. If you do want a talent build video other than the one that I filmed previously, if you do want an updated one, I will go ahead and make that. I'll get it out as soon as possible. But for now, I'm going to leave it at that. Any questions about the add-ons, anything else, leave them in the comments down below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Until next time, guys, take care.